Yo, what up, fam? It's Maris with Critical Root Zone, where we dig deep with inquiring minds to get to the root of sustainability. Want to know why I started this podcast? My belief that a positive, sustainable climate is critical to me and you, and all that we love and enjoy about our planet. I want to learn more about the problems we face on a daily basis, and why they seem like we have no control over them, because I believe we do. My guests will range from all walks of life. And I want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you believe? Let's make a lasting and permanent change together. Please subscribe and join me as we get to the root of the problems here on CRZ. Welcome back to another episode of Critical Root Zone. I'm your host, Maris, the Maris Vibes, DJ Earthbird, and I have another Earth Angel on my show today. His name is Bobby Smith. We go way back, this man and I, and he is a very special human, is so close to my heart. I feel so lucky to know these people in real life, you know, and we've been talking about this for a while, getting him on here and talking about who he is, what he does, and how it affects sustainability. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend, Bobby Smith.
Hey. Good morning.
Good morning. Good. I am so good, and I'm just full of joy, like just elated that you're sitting in this chair with me today.
Finally.
Yes,
absolutely.
And we get to talk about what we talk about all the time. We met at Hotbox Fitness, right?
It's my favorite place.
This man has been coming to the gym that I teach kickboxing at for over 10 years
10 years. 2,100 classes.
That's right. He's got it down now. He knows. And I'm sure there's more because we started that counting a little bit later. I bet you're ahead of that. But taking care of our bodies, we met each other in this very beautiful way at the gym. And we have so many wonderful conversations. And then I learned about what you do, Bobby, how you exist in this world. And I want to talk about that specifically today. You're my Earth Angel today. I mean, every day for a lot of people. And you are the Executive Director of Restoration Point at McKendree Methodist United Church. Let's talk about that and what it is that you do there.
Yes, about 15 years ago, my wife was assigned as associate pastor there at McKendree United Methodist Church, and the current pastor, Stephen Handy, you know, he started out asking me if I would volunteer to help with their feeding program, there at the church. And so fast forward, I got involved with that, and they started a nonprofit back in 2011 called Restoration Point. And they asked that if I would, engage in helping that nonprofit get off its feet. And primarily what we do at Restoration Point, we provide, meals each week, provide clothes, and then also the church part of it in the sub-basement, we converted into a temporary shelter where we house 8 guys that we bring off the street, and they could primarily be in there anywhere from 90 to 120 days where we help them get into wholeness from that standpoint. And so this has been truly a blessing to me. And I tell you, Maris, I've attended a lot of church, and I've been churched for my whole life, going from being raised Baptist, getting married Catholic, and then now a United Methodist. But being in the church, this is one of the church that I have learned to appreciate in terms of they provide opportunities, services, and care for those outside of the walls of the church. And then also open the church up to bring those individuals in and provide love, care, and just, that wholeness about, what church is about. So that's church for me, and why I have been able to, be there for this, period of time.
I've volunteered with you before.
Yes.
We've connected the gym now to donations with clothing, and we've got lots of gym members that now are like regulars at the feedings.
Absolutely.
And we just had a conversation with Haynes about food and about how that is not only just a nourishing thing, it's a spiritual connection to the earth, to people, and the people that come to these feedings and the people that are coming to you for shelter and for community, for love, the unhoused, as we would, but we would properly say these days, or otherwise in the past known as the homeless, right? These people are human beings. They're human beings that they need our help, and they may not come out and say it. They may not say, or they're living the way that they want to live, but still, the way that we view these people matters, and the way that we interact with them matters. And I've done a lot of soul searching in my own life to understand that people are the problem and they're the solution. Critical Root Zone's mission to love the planet, but first loving each other. And in order to do that, you have to love yourself from within, right? My mission is to help people understand that caring for one another is crucial. This sharing, the community, that part is so crucial. And so when we talk about the unhoused, we hear a lot of stories with, drugs, alcohol, or substances, or violence. But that is not the only thing. That is not what is in these communities. These people, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how, that view, how did this work come to you? Where you're from. I know that you're from Atlanta, Georgia. I know that your journey led you to New Orleans. I know that you were separated kind of from your family during that time. Everybody's doing their thing in school and in work, and you were in New Orleans, and you went there. You were somehow spiritually guided to not be there when Katrina happened, but you were living there, right. And you were in the very small percentage of people that were not affected as bad. And you were a part of the help and the support and what was needed post Katrina. Can we talk about that and just?
Yeah, that was a journey that I think and feel that really shaped my appreciation for mankind and how we come together in crisis to get beyond color, race, separation, or whatever you want to call it, to come together to help serve one another, out of situations. Just going back to Atlanta, and I had shared with you previously about my grandmother. We grew up in a matriarch home in which, she was sort of the center of, everything, and just watching her and being a type of neighbor where she would always cook and prepare food, and people from the neighborhood would come in at any time, to have meals. She would send food to neighbors who may be sick or anything like that. And so that's where the initial of, who I am now and can give credit to, in terms of, just caring for one another. And it then went from there to Boys and Girls Club. I worked with that organization for 35 years, but prior to that, I was a young boy in the Boys Club back then, and I just saw how staff cared for, people. And even during that time, they had what they call a, young staff. If you wanted to be a staff that, if you do certain things or had a good behavior, they will allow you to, to help. And so a lot of that help was in the kitchen, because we would, the club would pick up, kids from certain neighborhood and bring them after school to the club and would provide them meals. And I was part of helping put the meal together. And again, that's what I'm doing now as an adult, to be able to do that. But it went from there to, a month before Katrina, happened. I got a job as the CEO of Boys and Girls Club of South East Louisiana, which is in New Orleans. My family was still in Atlanta during the time, and so I sort of preceded them going down. But a month before Katrina, we moved there, and just had a time of just visiting, going around, seeing the neighborhood, and just getting adjusted. And within that 1 month time, they were calling for a mandatory evacuation, and so I left that Saturday before Katrina came in, and from that, I was able to watch Katrina come in on August the 25th in 2005 on that Monday, to do the wind damage part of it. And on that next day, Tuesday, is when the levee broke. And that's where, the flooding took place. And then also you had the surge from the wind that came in to, just, brought in additional water, into the city in itself. And through the mercy of God, I would say prior to moving there, we met with a real estate agent and actually went to several areas in New Orleans, to buy a house, but it never happened. And the reason it didn't happen, I was so concerned about, being in traffic, an hour something, getting back and forth to work from wherever that may have been to downtown where the office was. And so the decision was made 5 blocks from downtown is where, we ended up staying in an apartment. And that was part of that 20% of the area that didn't flood. And I'm like, okay, God, you did this for a reason. And what was interesting in this too, the church we attended, First Street United Methodist Church, my wife was also associate pastor there, did not flood. And so the church itself was used as a sort of a base in allowing people from around the country to come in, to be able to stay, to be able to, help, again, those who were in crisis and needed help to rebuild. Well, not necessarily rebuild, but, just to clean out, their flooded, homes and, just to get back up on their feet. And so through that process, again, the human mankind and the genuine concern that happened during that process, just really
seeing people come together.
Just seeing people come together, and it was really great. And again, it went beyond race. It went beyond color. And I shared this story with you too. One of the contractors who came from out of town came to New Orleans, and he was there at the church and. Side conversation. See, he said, I'm down here to make as much money as I can. And again, you had contractors who were taking advantage of people. But through his work, with individuals, and his story was, and he got up in church one Sunday said this, that Mrs., I can't recall her name, elderly woman, he went in to help her, and she provided him with the meal and just, sharing that love. And that touched his heart. Mm. And with that, the change in him, he said, I'm going to donate my service, to this community. And those groups that came in, he helped stage the work and providing, the supplies or whatever it is to be able to, start to rebuild people home. And, that was great to just see how as people came together loving one another, that the impact and the sustainability that you say, really took place. So now let's get it to where I am now. Again, we joined, McKendree United Methodist Church, and, I started work with them on getting the nonprofit, working up. And primarily what we do is provide, a meal twice a week now. We just recently partnered with Luke 1412, which is a nonprofit. They provide a meal on Thursday. We provide a meal on Tuesday. During the week. And we see about 100 people, per serving, per meal that come in and take advantage of that. And then also on Thursday, we provide clothes where they come in and get clothes. And that's how you and I got connected through Hotbox. And even now, we're getting a lot of clothes where, some of the members of Hotbox would bring, clothes, and we would get them and take them up to the church. It's really within walking distance from that to be able to, provide that.
Anytime someone asks me, where can I bring clothes? What do I do with it, Maris? I say, I got the spot for you. Spot.
That's it. And so that has been, an ongoing relationship that I really, appreciate, us having to, get clothes from Hotbox through that. Especially shoes. We love shoes.
Good, get to know.
Get
I got
to
some
know
shoes
that.
for you. Yeah.
And so, that's what we do. And I would say the crown jewel in terms of what we do, the church, again, here's a church taking this facility to open it up to the community where we converted part of, the church into a temporary shelter for men. And we have 8 beds. We can, bring 8 guys from off the street into this environment to, provide the surrounding services to be able to get them back on their feet and into some type of, permanent or, apartment or whatever that is to be able to do that. What's I would say miraculous about this, the guys that have come through there have really come back to help and donate their time and service. And even while they were in the program, to come up and help, cook the meals, clean up and do those things like that.
Giving back.
That's giving back. And that's feeding their souls, to help them to be able to understand, yes, my circumstance may be bad, may be bad, but at the same time, as I give back, that's helping me help others.
And remembering where you came from.
Remembering where you came
from. There's a progress. Yeah. There's a journey for us all, and I think that resonates with me in my life. I remember where I was a year ago or 10 years ago when I moved to Nashville. I was not the woman that I am today. I knew it always existed inside, but I fought for it, and I'm still to this day just learning, growing, processing, trying to understand. I say this a lot, seek to understand rather than to be understood. That is one of my favorite quotes. You'll hear me say it again and again because it's not about me. Like, God's got me. Yeah. The universe protects all of us. And when we start to trust that and understand that, everything around us, kind of all the problems, all these things, they start to melt away. And we get back to these basic ideas, these basic necessities: food, shelter, water, what we need to live and survive. And we're not all getting that. Some of us are. I mean, we clawed our way to get, I'm just grateful I've got this little apartment that I've got. I've got enough money to pay my bills, and I've got enough money to have a car and enough money to put food in my belly and go have fun every once in a while. I have these gifts, but when I look around and I see they're not plentiful for everyone, it makes me really wonder, how are they living? Because I used to live somewhat like that, and I relate to that. But going to McKendree Church and being a part of what you do has really changed me. I just like being present there, like that energy of seeing these people come in and serving them. And we had created this food. We get to cook food.
Cook it, yeah.
And, I like to bring my speaker, and we dance and we jump around. And it's been a minute because I've had a job change, so I haven't been able to come.
Well, we missed that. That offered something special to
figure out a way to get back. Don't worry. I know I keep saying it, but that's sometimes how it works. You got to keep reminding yourself, okay, I want this, or I'm going to do this. And that's where I encourage people to just really think outside themselves, and start looking around. Start looking around on these people. We live in Nashville, downtown Nashville. When I don't go a lot, but I just went, and I'm walking around and there's just piles of people everywhere, right? Just all excited, some of them dressed up and doing their thing, and then I see a mother and 2 children on the side of the road with a sign that says, we don't have a home. And my heart breaks in that moment. I can't even focus on what's going on around me. It's not that I couldn't enjoy myself, but I really couldn't for a second. It was and that she's not the only one. I saw multiple people. The way that we look at these people or don't, that's what really caught me in that moment. Was just, there's so many people walking around here and just walking by. Yeah. Not even, or trying to ignore it, honestly, because they're trying to have a good time. They're trying to spend money. They're trying to have a good time. They're trying to spend money. What if every person on that street looked at that person and said, I have something to give to you? Because that's what I wanted to do. I was with some people. I wanted to be like, well, what's your name? Where are you from? How'd you get here? Well, what do you need? And then I felt this this loss almost, because I wasn't able to do that in that moment. and I was with people and we were moving just like everybody else. But if every person on that street thought that way or went in that direction, they wouldn't exist there. They wouldn't be there.
That's right.
And we hear of homelessness, of the unhoused, this population growing. The Supreme Court is trying, the federal law is trying to criminalize being homeless. What do you think about that? How do you stay hopeful in this life, in this world, right? I know you do a few things to remind yourself, like your story about the bus and everything. I want you, how do you stay in that place?
You know, God, I've moved to this period in my life in terms of material things are not such as important to me as they used to be, and focus more on, you know, what I see every day, and not being in a situation where I'm moving too fast, where I miss a lot of simple things. And here's an example. My vehicle, I parked it about 5 years ago, and I walk from the house to the bus stop, get on the bus downtown, you know, Central, and then walk to the church, and then walk to the gym, and then, you know, reverse that going back home. That has allowed me to see, I'll say, God's creation. Seeing individuals, seeing situations, smelling things, hearing things of what I call the real world. And I continue to listen to what God may say, okay, Bobby, here's what I'm exposing you to. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the blessings to bless others, you know, through that. And I shared this story with you. You mentioned the word, two words, earth angels. And I said, right before you had said that, that morning when we had a meal, one of our guests who came in to get a meal, she came over to me and pulled me to the side. She said, Bobby, I want to share this with you. She had all these rings on her finger. And so she showed me one of them, and I looked, and it was a picture of a face of an angel, you know, with the wings and the face and all of that. And she said, "You're my angel." and that sort of caught me, you know, right there. And then to hear you, you know, mention that right after it, again, that's that connection in terms of, you know, how God sort of send these messages for you. And that validate for me by, you know, opening up. And let me say this too. My first thought in getting into this and preconceived notion about, you know, homeless people, we'll call it that back then, there's a smell about them. You know, they do drugs, some of these things. I had these biases too. But over the period of time, as you learn to see people where they are and who they are, and look them in the eye and in their face, to carry the conversation, you begin to connect, you know, mentally, and then also you connect through the heart. And so with me, I'm starting to see people through their heart. And again, the light that Christ put in us, I'm hoping that that's shining where they're seeing me through my heart, you know, in terms of, you know, the things that God is, you know, continuing to ask me to do. Now, you know, at times I would be a little bit, you know, scared in terms of, you know, we're bringing all these unhoused people together into this, you know, into this fellowship hall, and, you know, you have mental, you know, issues, you know, trauma and all of that goes along. But because of, and our mission says this, sharing God's love in Nashville by caring for the homeless and displaced while disrupting cycles of poverty. That's what our mission is. And so through our volunteers, and I would say the background of our volunteers who have come in and sort of make this a fun, loving, caring, they all come from different circumstances and backgrounds and issues too. To be able to come in and, do what we do in serving food, giving out meals, and helping guys get off the street, that it has been, fantastic to see that happen and to get us beyond, these stereotypes about, the homeless. And I know you mentioned about the political side of it. What we're saying is that we got to stay in the face of these politicians,
Yes.
to make the right decision about, what's going on. And I'll give this as an example. Right in front of the state capitol, the War Memorial building is being renovated. How many thousands of dollars that they're putting into worshiping a war building with, bricks and mortar, and that's all what's in there, versus using some of that money to provide, affordable housing or housing for these individuals. So when they come into the temporary setting, you work with them, provide, support for them, getting them jobs, helping them get off, drugs, working with them spiritually. And then the other part of it, the health side of it, getting them healthy and on their feet. That and those monies could help, in that process to be able to do that. And that's simple, that's easy, but
I didn't even know that was going on.
yeah, that's going on, and it was interesting. I don't want to get too much in the political side.
Oh, we're going to do that in the next episode with Grace. Okay. So this is a perfect segue.
Well, right as the state legislation for this year was getting ready to start, they all of a sudden fenced off that whole area, and that's typically where people come in to protest or to. Right. State their voice in terms of, concerns that they may have. And I'm like, did they intentionally time that to be able to not have people to be out there to do that, especially with the gun? So you have to sort of question, the timing of that to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
So
how interesting. Yeah, I like what you said about staying in their faces.
Yeah, we got to stay in their face.
We have to.
And stay in their face by, the vote.
Yes.
We one of the things we want to move into is how can we get people who are homeless to be eligible or to be able to vote, because they have a voice in saying, what their future, how they can be, helped to be able to do
Everyone
it.
Matters. Everyone matters.
Everyone matters.
Every single person. No matter where they come from, no matter what they're doing, no matter what struggles are going in their lives, if we can learn to see them through their hearts, like you said.
Yeah. Well, let me add this too. I mentioned, we have a temporary shelter for men. Going forward, the church has also granted us some additional space there in the church to be able to, create a space for we can accommodate women through the process. Because in that immediate area, there's not a temporary shelter for women. And so we're working on, having that done by the end of the year to be able to make that happen.
Amazing.
And so that would be another crown jewel.
Yeah, that is. And you continue to improve everything that you do. And the people that come, they're getting the volunteers. They're getting something out of this as well. You're feeding the unhoused and connecting them to resources, and through the volunteers, they are also receiving, being able to look people in the eyes. Right? Yeah. Hey, how are you? That is something that is not. That's not socially easy for a lot of people to walk up to somebody or to be in contact with somebody that looks like someone that might have been living on the streets, like you said, has an odor, or may seem a little different. I think that's one of my favorite things in my discovery of life is how do I interact with people of all backgrounds, right? How do I go in with full openness to just love? And that is my life lesson, to just learn how to love someone right off the bat. First thing, I love you. That's all I know is I love you, because we are a reflection of God. And get away from the idea of religion and church and like all these labels, and bad stuff happens everywhere. We're human beings. There are some evils out there in the world. There are things happening that we have no control over, but what we do have control over is ourselves. How you act, how you speak, what you do in the world, how you extend your love and light. And that's what you do, Bobby Smith. And I've been a receiver. I know everyone that comes in touch with you has that we just love you. So thank you for loving us. Thank you for what you do, my earth angel. And so how this all ties in together, you made some great points about politics, and policy is so incredibly important to the way we live as human beings. Unfortunately, it is what it is. That is how we're able to be free and to live the lives that we live. And so we have to use our democracy. And that's our next guest, Grace Stranch. She's going to be my next guest, and we're going to talk about what she does at Harpeth Conservancy, which is all about water. So we've got shelter, food, and water in this Earth Angels series. We're talking about connecting humans, to loving each other, to sharing resources and light. And the mission of CRZ, in order to love the planet, we have to love each other.
Yes.
And in order to love each other, we must love ourselves. And I'll say it again and again and again. And I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here. Anyone watching, listening, please like, subscribe, share with anyone that you think may like it too. And we'll keep doing this thing as long as we can. So have a great day, and go out there and look at people with your heart.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for listening to Critical Root Zone. If you'd like to reach out, email us at criticalrootzone@gmail.com.